always air-based to the Man Week. Yeah. There it is. Mike Reynolds and Spencer Callaghan are part of OttawaValleyDads.com. Check it out. It was all things dads, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, Mike, tell me about that. What's going on with dads these days?
Well, everything is going on with dads these days. So what we're doing is raising children now.
Yes. And that's true, right? The old school thinking about, if you're watching Mad Men, that is not how men operate anymore.
Oh,
that's archaic, right?
Yeah, certainly not in our household. I don't know if it exists in many places anymore, but I mean, in our house, we would not pretend for a moment that parenting isn't split 50-50. Some days, split either way, it will go 70-30s, but I mean, we certainly put in equal contributions to raising kids or drive kids to work in the morning.
It's not just about raising kids, which we are far more involved in, but now as well taking care of the household, which was traditionally the woman's job. No longer. I don't think many people are thinking that way.
No, I mean, I think a big change is I work from home. I'm self-employed, so I work a lot from home, and I know there's a lot of that going on now, working from home, telecommuting. There's a lot of shifting hours with both men and women. So if you're leaving any one role, whether it's parenting or cleaning or cooking up to one person, then there's a lot of times when things aren't going to get done if you're relying on one person. So I think that really it's come to dads to really become more multitaskers than they used to be, whereas they used to be, you just go to work and you do your job and you come home and everything's ready for you. I think nowadays there's a lot more, it's a lot more complicated than that now.
That almost sounds ridiculous,
it does,
right? Like everything's ready for you. Like that's crazy. I would choose a day at work any day than a day as a child care professional. I think that's an incredibly difficult job, right?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so those moms who are staying at home and some who still do are putting in, I can tell you for a fact, a way harder day than I am, like no question about it. What's interesting to me is the lag in media and how they reflect fathers, whether it be commercials, television shows. It seems that those traditional roles don't change as quickly in television programs, movies, and ads as well.
Yeah, and I think it is beginning to change. I mean, because you do see a lot more of these sites, these dads showing everyone that this is how dads actually work. I mean, there are still some shows that portray dads as the oafish dad, and I won't pretend for a minute that I'm not oafish.
We have oafishness in us.
Exactly. I have part oaf, and I mean that shows. For us more in our household though, it's whenever we're playing around with kids. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything with our responsibilities at home. We're certainly equal billing again there. So.
Yeah, I find it's frustrating. I mean, you see a lot of these depictions of dads in the media, and you mentioned commercials and television programs, and like you said, dad's always this big dumb oaf, and mom is this wonderful woman who has everything together for her, which my wife is. But it just so happens that a lot of dads nowadays have got their stuff together too, and it doesn't you're not just some big dumb oaf who sits on the couch and ignores the kids. I mean, I think that the problem is that we take a lot of our subconscious cues from the media, and it's strange why that hasn't kept up with the times.
Yeah, it's interesting because one of my wife's pet peeves are cleaning commercials. There's always a woman cleaning, and maybe that percentage is still higher for women cleaning versus men, but it's time to start representing that. I mean, the Dyson commercial, for instance, which is usually just a technology commercial, I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever. I'm really into that. I want to know, and I'm vacuuming, and
I'm the one doing the research on the robot vacuums. Right. So I kind of have a bit of both. I want someone else to do it for me, just not a human.
So you guys, we see lots of mommy blogs out there, women sharing things, and that's what you guys do, but for dads, right? Like guy stuff.
Yeah. So all the things that basically I do as a dad with my two girls, and that was the other thing that was interesting to me. I was raised in a family of boys, so becoming the dad to two girls has been interesting, and that's why, I mean, really for me it's documenting our time. It's almost scrapbooking, right? But in words and online. So we've had a ton of fun as a family, going out, doing things, and then writing about those. So
yeah, same thing.
Yeah, well, I have two daughters as well, so ours are actually very similar in terms of the age spread, so it's a lot of work. But I mean, I enjoy writing in general. So for me, writing for the blog, I try not to get into the whole how-to, because there's really no perfect way to do anything.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's tons of blogs out there that will tell you how to do this or how to do that. I try to stay more into what I do and how I try to keep things fun and how I try to get through the day-to-day without. I think one of the really important things for me is how do you get through being a dad and having kids while still keeping your identity. And the reason why I say that is because I think it's really important that you keep your identity as a man when you become a father, because that's what your kids learn from.
also, you're in a household of women. I mean, you're outnumbered, right? So
Even the cat is female in our house. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? I've wished the only regret I have is that I didn't check out, you know, when my son was born. Just to prepare myself, reading some of that would have really helped out, just to know what to expect.
Yeah, and that's what I do like about a lot of these dad blogs, is it's not the textbook scenarios of your kid is this. It's reading through a whole bunch of people's different personal, individual scenarios about how they've gone through it, and seeing that, you know what, there are struggles in parenting, and you can get through them, and you do get through them. So.
Yeah, I think a sense of humor is the best thing to be armed with, right?
For sure.
That's right. All right, Ottawa Valley Dads, I want to thank you guys, .com, by the way. I want to thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate your dads on the Sunday. They cook, they clean, they work. Finally caught up to the moms.